The story, it was, just seemed almost too obvious to not have thought of before, but retelling the story of Joseph and the coat of many colors as a Western.
With both Phil and I, we were both huge fans of Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, the Andrew Lloyd Webber musical.
We had a guy named Bob Lee who did the writing for this show.
We had to decide, what is the lesson in Little Joe? Is it perseverance? Is it faithfulness? What is it? And you realize it's mostly faithfulness, and that's what we tried to focus for Bob as he was writing it, because he was writing really, really funny stuff, but it's always the teaching side of a script that you try to infuse in there. It's a little more difficult.
Phil took a day, polished it, did a few things to it, and we came out with a really good script.
It made me laugh.
The story of Joseph in the Bible is Joseph's brothers end up putting him in a pit and selling him to some desperados. And he goes to Egypt, which in our case is Dodgeball City. He is basically sold to this keeper of this pizza place, Dodgeball City's pizza place, which is Potiphar. In the Bible story, of course, he's sold into Potiphar's house and gets into trouble with Potiphar's wife. And so we set up the same sort of a similar tension or a problem for Joseph in the pizza place between he and his Kitty.
She sets him up, just like Potiphar's wife in the Bible set up Joseph. And as Joseph ended up in jail, so does Little Joe end up in the county jail. In jail,
our hero, our Little Joe, interprets the dreams of the baker and the blacksmith. And in the Bible, that's almost exactly like the Bible story where he interprets the dreams of two prisoners that he's in prison with. One of them being a servant to Pharaoh. And that servant to Pharaoh ends up getting out of jail and going back and serving in Pharaoh's house. So we follow very similar to the Bible story there. The mayor is the same as the Pharaoh character in the Bible, and he interprets the dream of the mayor and shows how to save the city, which is just what Joseph did for Pharaoh. He showed them how to save the country. In the Bible story, ultimately, Joseph didn't just save the country, but wound up saving his own family who were starving in Israel and came to Egypt and would be able to have food. And we do the same thing with ours.
We had to take some differences. We wanted to make it feel Western, like when Joseph has his dream at the beginning. In the Bible, you remember, he dreamed that there were bundles of wheat that were all bowing down to him. And we thought, that doesn't sound very Western. And we got to choose Western things. We got, armadillos, we got horseshoes, we got cactuses. We'll have him dream about cactuses. So that's why his dream was about cactuses. Now, when the mayor has his dream, in the Bible, Pharaoh had the dream about the 7 fat cows and 7 skinny cows. And we thought about that for a while, and you can't get much more Western than that.
When we're designing a character or a prop or location, we start off very realistic. And then we start to veggyize things. So there are no perfect 90-degree angles. There's no straight lines. Everything's a little cockeyed. And if we're working on a location or a set design, there are no straight lines. It's like creating a perfect set and then twisting it and bending it and melting a part of it and pushing a part up and pushing another part down. And then that's our veggie world.
It seems like another little gem. It's like a classic VeggieTales story. And we'd never done a Western, and Larry looks great in a cowboy hat.
Maybe I know your eyes see right through my disguise, and no one can deny.
I wanted to do a boy band, song. I didn't start off being a boy band song. The lyrical hook that just came to me as I was thinking about this was, baby, I know your eyes see right through my disguise, and I wrote that down, and I just looked at it and thought, that's just really cheesy, and it just hit me as, that's so boy band. And so I thought it would be great to take that and throw it into a boy band concept. And so we start off with, and it's so different from any other kind of silly song that we've done before. And so I think for it to really work, we had to do it like a polished MTV piece.
So one of the first things I did was got in touch with our babysitter, Kayleen, and borrowed all of her boy band CDs. So I had 98 Degrees and NSYNC, and I was listening to the styles. What sounds do they use? How does it just scream boy band from the start to the end? And then, of course, my inspiration was Joey here. Picked him up, and I got a matching Joey for Mike, so we can both be inspired as we're writing.
No belly bar.